to a conference situation pretty quickly. And it's a bill we haven't failed to pass in 58 years, and we shouldn't fail to pass it this year. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy 4th of July.
All right, everybody, good afternoon. Thanks so much for watching News Now, which is a part of Fox10Phoenix.com. My name is Pilar Arias. Happy Thursday. We're going to call it Thursday, and that's because I have two animal-related stories to show you today. And it's been a minute since we've done a Thursday or a Friday. That's when we show animal-related stories on Fridays. But like I said, I have two of them in this top stories segment for you right now on News Now, which is a part of Fox10Phoenix.com. Hey, if you are a first-time viewer, welcome. We are so happy that you are here. Again, my name is Pilar Arias, one of 3 News Now hosts. Glad to be here with you. So, okay, this first top story I have for you. I do have a cat, and when I lived in Beaumont, Texas, which is about 30 minutes away from the Louisiana border, so on the Gulf of Mexico, he used to be an outdoor cat, and he got ticks and fleas, and it was awful trying to get rid of them, and so now he's no longer an outdoor cat. But this first top story is about the dangers of ticks for dogs. Let's watch.
Finally, it's warm. Time for man and dog to get out and about. It's also time for another creature to get out and about. Its name?
The brown dog tick is called rhipicephalus.
For a tick, the great outdoors is your dog's coat.
Brush and scrub areas that's where they like, and they're on the underside of the branches. As we come by or brush against them, they drop off.
And on to your dog. That's when it gets down to business.
They're blood suckers, okay, and so they get a blood meal, and the female can engorge 200 times her body weight.
In addition to being at minimum a painful distraction, problem solvers learned they can be lethal. Make no mistake.
They can carry 12 different diseases that can be transmitted to our pets.
Rocky Mountain spotted fever and Lyme's disease, just to name 2.
But dogs don't talk, just like Ginny here does a lot of licking. So how do we know she's got ticks?
Let's look inside the ear. And the ticks like it around the ear, inside. They like areas where they can get away, underneath the ear folds and the skin, around the neck, underneath. After we go and exercise with our animals, we should examine them.
If you discover those little blood-sucking monsters on your dog, well, now what?
Pinching right at the base of the skin where they are and pulling it and getting the whole tick and getting the whole head is important.
But before you decide to remove a tick yourself, be warned.
Ticks can transmit diseases to people too.
Remember, dogs don't really talk. They can't tell you what's wrong. So take a little time to look for that little tick. Dan DeRue, Fox 31.
Dogs may not be able to tell you what's wrong, but they can be trained to find a specific type of turtle. That's this next top story right here on News Now.
Some dogs get excited about bones and treats, but for John Rucker's 7 best friends, their joy comes from finding ornate box turtles.
I'm the only person in the world who travels all over the United States with 7 dogs doing this for clients.
In a van equipped with just water, food, and a tent, John and his dogs are 1,300 miles away from their home in Montana, helping conservation groups find this rare turtle breed. Measuring about 5 inches in length, box turtles are only found where tall grass prairie grows in states like Illinois, Iowa, and Nebraska. But most of that land is now gone because of farming.
The result is we've lost over 99% of the historic range of that tallgrass prairie here in Illinois. And species like the ornate box turtle really suffer from that. They no longer have habitat.
Rucker uses his dogs to find the roughly 1% of the ornate box turtle population that's left. Their powerful sense of smell helps them find turtles 4 times faster than humans.
Turtles may be small, but they play a big role in diagnosing the land they live on.
We'll do physical examinations, looking at the eyes, ears, nose, throat, look at the condition of the shell, and all of these things are indications of how they're utilizing the environment, but their overall health and wellness.
Biologists say studying ornate box turtles could be key in restoring prairie grass and preventing disruptions to the region's ecosystem.
We need a working environment for all of the various ecosystem services that are provided. Okay, so things like clean water, things like clean air.
As for Rucker, he hopes his efforts will save this rare species.
It's sort of the driving force in my life right now.
In Franklin Grove, Illinois, Mitty Hicks, Fox News.
All right, everybody. Well, it is officially summer. A lot of people hitting the beaches, whether on the West Coast or the East Coast. And by the way, I go like this because sitting here at the Fox 10 studios, to my left, but it looks like I'm going right, that's the west side. So it's just like a natural reaction, I guess. Anyway, we're going to head to the Bay Area where we're taking a look at their beach report because you might want to think twice about what could be in the water before you get in.
Lindemar State Beach. Surfers seem to like it, so do people walking their dogs or playing with their children. But this popular beach received a grade of F when it comes to water quality in the annual survey by the environmental organization Heal the Bay. It ranked as having the worst water quality in the Bay Area and the third worst of all California beaches.
There are multiple cases of sewage spills in this area. Sometimes that might happen because if there's a connection between the storm sewer line and the sewage system, there might be overflows during a very intense rain event, and that can discharge some bacteria.
This is the second year in a row the beach has made the list.
It's never bothered me. Maybe it keeps some people away so it isn't so crowded.
Some people had a change of heart about staying here.
If it's fecal related, that bothers me. Wouldn't that bother anybody?
I'm kind of thinking twice about staying in there longer. But since I'm here, I'm just going to enjoy the day.
Two other beaches made the top 10 beach bummer list: Aquatic Beach in San Mateo and Keller Beach in Richmond.
Your risk of gastrointestinal illness will increase as the grades go down.
Heal the Bay says heavy rainy seasons mean more bacteria-ridden runoff that gets carried into the sea. But it's not all bad news. Beaches in San Francisco, Marin, and Sonoma all scored very high, and beaches in the East Bay were average.
Especially during the summer dry season, water quality is actually looking very good.
I love the beach. The only East Coast beach I've ever been to, though, is Coney Island when I lived in New York one summer for a month. It was a great experience, though. Really enjoyed it. Love beaches, love summertime, love the water. Just remember to be safe when you're out there having some fun. All right, we're going to head to Texas for this next top story. Remember, I lived and worked out there as a reporter for 5 years. Turns out the state could be rewriting its sex education standards.
They have 8 ways to prevent STDs. Not one mention of condoms in those 8 suggestions, but they do say you should get plenty of rest.
But soon, more information on preventing sexually transmitted diseases could be part of Texas sex education, along with topics like sexual risk reduction methods or contraceptives and healthy relationships.
Oh my goodness, is it about time that Texas come into the 21st century.
Education Commissioner Mike Morath included the recommendations in his health standards review. If approved, this would be the first change in more than 20 years. However, not everyone agrees.
Abstinence would be risk avoidance. We don't educate our children to drink safely or to do drugs safely.
Alice Lenahan believes parents should choose how sex education is taught.
It's a dangerous place to go. They lose their rights as parents to decide when and how their children should be taught about sex education.
A 2017 Texas Freedom Network report shows 8 out of 10 public schools teach abstinence only or don't teach sex education at all. Meanwhile, Texas ranks 4th in the nation for teen births, with more than 30,000 pregnancies in 2016. Miller says that's why something's gotta give.
We're ignoring the nearly 60% of students who say that they are sexually active before they graduate from high school.
The State Board of Education is planning a final vote on the new health standards in September 2020. And if they are approved, they would go into effect for the 2022 to 2023 school year. In Austin, Texas, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
All right, any of you live in a community where either a park or a road or a neighborhood is named after a former vice president? Well, it turns out some communities could be trying to think of some name changes.
I think people understand it is one thing, but I understand that things have to change.
On the west side of Bidet-McCoska, the lake's recent name change is still making waves.
If it actually makes people like the neighborhood better or makes people feel better about the neighborhood,
I think it's okay.
After the Minneapolis Park Board changed the name of Lake Calhoun, the West Calhoun Neighborhood Council sent a survey asking residents if they were interested in renaming their neighborhood as well. Just over half of those who responded wanted to keep the same name, while the rest were evenly split between Lake Makaska or West Lake, after the light rail transit station that's scheduled to go in.
With just all the talk of changing the lake, changing the street names, we just thought we'd like to get a feel for the neighborhood and see what they were interested in.
People who live in the Calhoun Area Residents Action Group, or CARIG neighborhood, already voted to change its name to South Uptown last fall, while the East Calhoun, or ECHO neighborhood, is considering whether it wants to follow suit. The West Calhoun Neighborhood Council says so far only 3% of residents have filled out the survey, so it wants to hear from more before making a decision.
We want to make the effort to reach out to the whole neighborhood so that we really doing what the average, what most people want to do, as opposed to just the few.
But whether the neighborhood decides on a new name or not, the ripple effects of the lake's name change will continue to be felt.
It's a hard balance to strike. I don't know what the answer is.
In Minneapolis, Maury Glover, Fox 9 News.
When you think earthquake, do you think Utah? Turns out some buildings in the Beehive State might not be prepared if one were to hit.
In some Utah neighborhoods, you'll see old brick homes that are cute and charming, but emergency managers say there's a hidden threat. In Utah, there are over 200,000 old brick homes and buildings that could collapse during an earthquake. Now, it's a threat that FEMA, state and local emergency management leaders are tackling today at the Capitol. Experts from across the country understand this unique challenge facing Utah. And when you couple that with the fact that 80% of Utah's population live along the Wasatch Fault, they say it's a deadly combo.
This thing that I rely on every day for safety could do me serious harm or death in an earthquake.
Actually, the second highest risk in the whole country for a number of fatalities we expect.
The solution will be costly. Retrofitting your home can be expensive, but there is a grant available for homeowners in Salt Lake City. We'll go ahead and put that info up on fox13now.com. In Salt Lake City, Tamara Vaifanua, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, it's one of my favorite stories to bring you as often as I can. Business news, business briefs, right? Instead of Tracy Carrasco, I'm hearing we have Jackie DeAngelis bringing us today's version.
More troubles for Boeing. Another software issue discovered in its 737 MAX jet. The Federal Aviation Administration has found a flaw that could push the plane's nose down automatically. Fixing the problem will likely delay the 737's return to service through late summer following 2 deadly crashes. Boeing says it agrees with the FAA and is working to address the problem. And Amazon is adding another option for customers to get packages from the online retailer, picking them up at Rite Aid stores. Amazon says shoppers will be able to pick up purchases at specialized counters in more than 1,500 Rite Aid locations by the end of the year. And Walmart is the latest retailer to announce its own special deals aimed at taking on Amazon's Prime Day. The sale from July 14th